Welcome to Between Two Peers, a live stream show where your hosts, Mistress, Sassy, Seamstress, and Sir Danger Muppet invite a guest from around the known world to answer your pressing questions about life, the universe, and everything. This week's episode is sponsored by Vodka and Cranberry. Our guest grew up sipping his grandma's screwdrivers, but he's not a fan of OJ. I mean, to be fair, who is? So Vodka and Cranberry it is.
Yeah.
Go down.
I am your host, Tulia, aka Mistress Sassy Seamstress. I've been in the SCA for, 2/3 of my life at this point, and I don't think I'm stopping anytime soon. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to my gorgeous co-host, Sir Danger Muppet.
I am Sir Danger Muppet, otherwise known as Helga. I've been I did the math because I started a new board, and I've been in the SCA for 16 years. Woo! Like half my life now, which is just weird. With that, I like dogs. And orange juice. Screw you guys, I have an orange tree that makes amazing orange juice and fantastic screwdrivers.
That was a dig at, like, O.J. Simpson, I'll have you know. Little chuckle.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was almost before my time.
Oh, I see. Make us all feel old.
So, tonight we are spoiled to have our guest, Viscount Seamus, with us. Would you like to do an intro?
I am Viscount Seamus from the wonderful, fantastic Kingdom of An Tir, Principality of the Summits, and I've been in the SCA for 11-ish years, something like that. I like period medicine. Not like period medicine, but our period medicine, just so you know.
But question, though, you do have probably a medicinal treatment for menstrual issues, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, with that, I'm going to go over our drinking game once again. You know, that slide will pop up so you guys can play along at home. And also, I'm going to do a shout out to our guest who has pre-prepped with how many drinks?
4.
Somebody's properly gaming tonight.
And my first one's a Euroscopy vessel, so
I love
that.
Oh my god! I was looking at that. Like, is that what you examine urine?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I love you.
So, our drinking game. Drink anytime one of our guests or the host uses a mundane name for the guest or host, because if we did that for all the questions, we'd be screwed. Yeah. Someone says, before I was a peer. Someone says, in the West Kingdom, or the kingdom they're from. Someone says, when I last reigned. Somebody calls a soapbox, or somebody uses the term spite sprinkles. And with that, we're going to roll right into our questions, and hope you guys have a wonderful evening with us.
All right. So this one's from Elena. What underappreciated Garb/time period / persona do you wish you saw more of, and why?
So, in An Tir, I would say there's a lot of Vikings, so I say that the most underappreciated is anything late period, especially Elizabethan or Tudor. So, yeah, that would be what I think is underappreciated and not seen enough.
Okay.
So, for me, underappreciated is this is actually probably going to weird everybody out. I love the Venetians. Those dresses. I had one. It's currently with a dear friend of mine because she fits it, and it is just but Venetian dresses are just super eye-catching and sexy for me. I'm just like, those are damn. I don't really have the body style to go with them, but I appreciate just the entire cut of both men's and women's garb for that. And it's just, there's so much work that goes into it that I think it's really, I just want to be like, let me look at your seams, and not in that weird seam checky kind of way, but to appreciate what you've done.
I think it's really funny, actually, Helga, because I was going to just say, as soon as I'm done with this Venetian gown I'm making for Mistress Driffa, which I am wildly behind on. that she's been super, super patient about. We should make you one.
I am down. They can be boobs.
Oh, girl, you will have boobs.
Yeah.
You will have boobs. Trust me. Trust me. I'm a pro. I love the fact that both of you say the two things that I actually got basically laureled for, Elizabethan and Venetian. And next week I'll be wearing Venetian. Actually, when we talk, no, 2 weeks. It is in 2 weeks when we talk to Baron Aaron, also from An Tir. I figured I would trot out one of my Venetian gowns, and it would be, interesting to see me do my late period thing again. For me, my thing that I wish I saw more of. Oh gosh, I know. I actually wish I saw more of like the kind of 14th century. I see a lot, a lot of people do 14th century, right? It's especially women, it's a very flattering shape for the female figure. I wish I saw more wimples. I love wimples. I think wimples are sexy. And wimples had a very brief, I shouldn't say brief, but maybe like 100 years, 200 years time period where they were in vogue for the most fashionable. And it wasn't seen as like this dowdy dowager, like old lady kind of a thing that it became later on. And I, goddamn, I love wimples. I want to see more wimples. Yeah, that's my answer.
I actually, so I totally have the fantasy of doing the Slavics, but doing like the Slavic but with the colors.
Yeah.
And so doing like the white head covering and everything, and just do black Slavics, and then just run around in like a pack of like 12 of us. I think I'm funny.
Oh, I think that would be fabulous. I actually am noticing all the comments too, like Dat Wimple. Yeah, exactly. There's a cartoon that actually talks about that our comments are referencing. That's funny.
Also, one of the I'm just gonna have this is a very tiny soapbox moment, so everybody can have a sip. It's one of the things that I wish was actually more appreciated is out of our normal time zone garb, or out of our normal the Western European garb sets. So there was less pushback about doing the Japanese and some of the Scythian or the early Greek and all of those weird categories that we have. I think that they should be appreciated just like the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, off my tiny soapbox. I step on a bar of soap.
No, I actually think that's a great one, honestly. And it's something I think that's really super timely, too, because we've been confronted about this kind of as a whole in the society about not supporting non-Western European interests and arts and culture and everything. And we need to be better about that. We are a big tent. And we just embrace that that's what makes the SCA the cool place that it actually is that all of this stuff can be accepted. And we can, people will argue the snowball theory about if we let, African personas in, then we're going to have to let Marie Antoinette reenactors in, or, Civil War reenactors. And I think that that's specious and bullshit. So I think we can absolutely...
I would totally be fine with Marie Antoinette era. I mean, rocket, As
someone who's done Marie Antoinette actually reenactment, it's fabulous. I actually feel like the SCA it needs to focus on the time period, less the location, the locale, because at this point we're talking. Once you get well into the 16th century, there's points of contact throughout the world. Right. And we can talk about, Native American indigenous people from the Americas. We can talk about, Eastern.
Can we talk about the fact that, the Vikings and Native Americans actually had settlements together, and we now have historic proof of that?
We have proof of that happening in the New World in the 11th century.
Congratulations! The New World was not the New World anymore. It was touched.
Right, and I think that that's absolutely a valid thing. My personal feels is that the SCA should really have a hard stop. It should figure out its hard stop year-wise, and then anything that we can document throughout that, fair game. And by the time you get to like 1600 to 1650, which is that very like kind of woody time period, cutoff date that the SCA kind of sort of talks about it, fall of the Roman Empire. The way I always learned it was fall of the Roman Empire to the death of Elizabeth I. And you can even push that out a little bit further, death of, say, Shakespeare, and that's like into the 17th century. Araya, I will get to you in a second. I used your mundane name, sorry.
You get to drink twice. You turn this into a full-on soapbox.
I'm sorry. Let me finish this. So if we can agree that, let's say, 1617 or roughly thereabouts when Shakespeare died, that's the cutoff date, that opens up a huge amount of possibility for non-Western European contact. And so I think we should just run with it. We get to make up the rules. It's our game, right?
It is.
Yeah. All right. So I think that was an accidental soapbox.
Wow.
I kind of like gently pushed the button and you were just like, smash it!
Well, I think it has to be talked about. It should be talked about.
Yeah.
So let's move on to question 2, though. We can discuss this all later on.
Question number 2 comes from Scott. If you could go back and start the SCA from scratch, would you? And if you did, would you change anything?
Would I go back and start it from scratch? Like, no, I wouldn't. I like it. I think that the SCA is kind of like a house that maybe has some things that need to be remodeled. Like there's some surface stuff you need to work on, and maybe there's some, foundation stuff that needs to be ripped out and kind of redone. But the overall structure of the house, I really like it. And so, no, I wouldn't restart it. Would I change anything? So I would probably have inspirational equality start earlier. And I would, probably start some of the issues that we're dealing with right now significantly earlier than we are now. But other than that, no, I like it like it is.
Oh, okay. I think, yes, I would absolutely still have the SCA. It's such a huge part of my life, and I, wouldn't have met Helga. I wouldn't have met Seamus. I wouldn't have met the fabulous tech crew, and Carius. I wouldn't have met my boyfriend. I wouldn't have had this huge, wonderful group of people in my life were it not for the SCA. So of course I would, I would absolutely want it to exist. But what would I change? Yes, other than the social aspects of it, like the inspirational equality earlier, like way
from the beginning.
From the beginning. I think the fundamental change I would have made is actually to have, instead of the AOA level be lords and ladies, I would make those masters and mistresses, and I would make the peerage level be the lords and ladies. I would switch those titles, because in period, that is where you see like your titles coming from, is in the peerage. So the titles would have been Lord so-and-so or Lady so-and-so. I do think it's cool that the SCA kind of gives you your first award, your first big kind of welcome to the SCA, we love you, please stay award, is the AOA, which will confer the Lord, Lady, and then the other title variations that I'm blanking on right now. But I think that is something that is wonderful about the SCA, but I also think it just doesn't make logical sense. I want to see something that makes logical sense. So I would have flipped that. And also, I think starting off with the peerages, actually going into the peerages, I would have just made everybody a knight of a thing. So instead of being like the Order of the Pelican, the Order of the Laurel, the Order of the Chivalry, it would have been Knights of the Chivalry, Knights of the Laurel, Knights of the Pelican. And those are kind of just semantical kind of things, but I think it would have made a lot more historically period sense. Helga.
So yes, all. actually. I've ground on that a little bit. So, if I could go back and start the SCA from scratch, it would start right out of the gate with, amusingly enough, this is going to be my... yes, I have a weird chip on my shoulder. We're just going to start with that. I would start right out the gate with women can fight. There would be a lot more just addressed equality just from the get-go. And this is actually, so this is going to be a super sideways conversation based off another conversation that I had with a friend recently, is all of the titles would be translated into all the languages that we now use. Because we actually do not use the correct titles for any Spanish knights. And the Spanish actually had knights. They were dons.
Yeah.
And so what I would do right out the gate is all those titles would go into multiple languages and be accepted in multiple languages, which has been kind of the fight throughout the SCA. We've gone from a very Western European to a much broader thing. And right out the gate, it would be cool, here's the broad idea of these are all the titles that go with these awards in multiple languages. And basically kind of actually address some of the equality that way also. But, same-sex couples fighting, all the stuff that we deal with that's almost normal now, which I think is awesome. I love it. Is right out the gate I would start that. The one thing that I would really make sure to protect, though, is the idea that the consort is our ideal. That is one thing that I would really want to make sure stayed, is in the West, the Queen is OP number 1 for a reason. The first tournament was fought for love and beauty. It was fought in her honor. And remaining that, because the consorts are the opposite of the violence that gets them there. They're the balancing point of that, which is the reason why I didn't strike anybody as queen unless I was in armor. But that ideal actually think that gives us kind of that little bit of a golden child idea to strive for in our consorts. And as fighters, we have somebody to look to be our balance. And so that's what I would reinforce. But yeah, the equality, addressing titles, changing it over so we had a little bit better of a scale through the society. That's where I'd go. But I love the SCA and I want to see it survive.
Me too.
So
yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah. All right. So I guess next question. This one's from Kennel. Storytelling was a fundamental part of medieval life. It was entertainment and education in equal measure. Do you have a favorite no shit there I was story or other tale of SCA adventure? Will you share it with the audience?
I'm gonna have to think on this one.
Yeah, this was this is really, really hard.
Well, I mean, besides selling one of my princes to another kingdom,
that's a pretty good one.
Okay, so this can be a shared answer. This is really good.
So, once upon a time, somebody's going to get the scroll, I was queen. And I had this amazing prince named Snorri. However, he really, really wanted to commit patricide. And so he kept threatening his father, though he loved his mother dearly. And lo and behold, another prince from a different realm showed up, and all of a sudden, Snorri would act in a manner that befit one of our princes. And so, it came with a hard decision, the heartbreaking decision, that I sold a prince to An Tir. And there's just
I threatened him one time. One time.
Oh my god, that was a really good story, actually. That was...
He came up the stairs so fast to say one time.
My favorite son, I had to send away to keep my king protected.
We deeply miss Snorri in the West. It's like a gaping wound that will not heal. However, we know in our heart that he is well cared for and loved in the...
There's a Karen feeding on that scroll. I may need you to post that scroll in between two peers. There's Karen feeding. We went over how warm he needed to be kept, what he liked to eat, how he needed to be treated. This was all negotiated beforehand.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you providing well for him, Seamus?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. I haven't poisoned him. I don't feed him very many onions. Those. So
Actually, though, that's a good segue. Seamus, if you want to talk, and you can say no if you don't want to, you were one of the first same-sex sitting royalty in the SCA.
yeah. So when I reigned, just get it over with, right?
I just took a drink.
So I was the first consort that was heir to a principality throne that was same gender. So my actually it's pretty good. No shit. There I was kind of like story of how it happened. So we were actually at a crown event, and my prince Turk we were hanging out the back of court, like laying in the grass, like drinking, and he was like, "Do you want to air a cornet?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah, let's do it." But we were pretty drunk, so I was kind of like not really sure this was actually like he was really actually serious, because we were just gone, right? Turns out, months later, he's like, "So we're entering, right?" I was like, "Oh, you were serious? Okay, yeah, let's do this." Yeah, so we were the first to be heirs, and then Snorri and Dwamis actually won 6 weeks later.
Right after, hot second later.
Right.
Yeah.
And then because there's a shorter period between the Miss Cornet and Miss Investiture, they actually stepped up first. So we kind of both were the first in a way. So
the cutest part of all of this was that you guys became like super buddy. Like every time, they would go up, the Miss royalty, Tuamas and Snorri would go up to An Tir to support Seamus, and then Seamus and his prince would come down here and support Snorri and Tuamas, and they all became like super buddies, and it was really a sweet.
And the entire time, Seamus and Snorri were just like,
I know, that was.
It was the cutest thing ever. Like I want to like,
so happy and so cute, and
I just want to watch this. This is the best love story ever.
It was really good. But,
Oh no! Did Seamus freeze?
I think Seamus froze. All right. Well, I like that expression. Like, yeah.
Right? I was just like, oh my god, is he horrified that we're getting in on this story?
So while we continue and try to get Seamus back on, let's help if you can continue with maybe take a question from the audience.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to take that one?
So the question was, how do we, Helga and I, keep a straight face?
The crowd is screaming for dog cam, by the way.
Oh. But
it's not feasible this time, guys. Sorry.
So how do we keep a straight face when Carius and Baby Ninja are in the background acting up and being shenanigan-y? I usually am not paying attention to them. I'm having a hard time like switching between the questions, the YouTube, the Facebook. So half the times I miss all the antics anyway. Helga?
I believe that everybody has watched me almost spit my drink a couple times. Actually, like if I'm kind of snickering while Sarah's Juliet, damn it, is talking, is normally because Baby Ninja or Carius has said something super snarky in the background, and I'm just like, oh god. So yeah, I took my drink. I'm going to be a terrible person real quick, and I'm going to ping Seamus and see if he can actually get on, or if he has completely lost his internet.
And I have people asking for kitten cam because I have a pair of kittens, Finn and Ray. They're upstairs. I can't bring them down in the basement. It is not kitten proof down here. So sorry, I can't do kitten cam.
Okay, cool. So I've pinged him to see if he's alive still. So what is another question that has come up in there?
Oh, there was another one. Oh, sing karaoke with any peer.
Oh, man.
Oh, I have a list.
So, if you could sing karaoke with any peer, who would it be? Who would be the biggest goofball with me? Actually, probably John Theophilus.
John Theophilus would be fabulous.
Oh, now you guys have Carius Cam.
Hey, Carius! You know, this is an evolving process. We will,
Yeah,
whatever.
so we're trying Discord this time instead of Zoom because Zoom.
We were hoping that we would avoid this on Discord versus Zoom, but it
Yeah.
Guess who's back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was super great. So like Sarah was like doing this. Oh, damn it, Sarah.
Yeah, I would totally go with John Theophilus or Sarah. Who would you sing karaoke with?
Who, me? Oh,
Yep.
I would super sing karaoke with anybody who wants to sing karaoke with me. I mean, really, I love karaoke. I don't care if you're good or bad or whatever.
I would like to know that I'm pretty much just a backup dancer for karaoke, so I need somebody else to sing.
You didn't come on karaoke with me when we went on the cruise. Mediterranean cruise.
Because you want to know what I don't do? Sing. Nobody needs to hear a crow squawking.
At least my apprentice came with me, for God's sake. And also, Helga, you have a beautiful voice. I have heard you sing. You have a look at she's all like, who me? No, not me. No, not possibly me.
So
she has a gorgeous voice.
While you were gone, we got asked if you could sing karaoke with one peer, who would it be?
If I could sing with one peer. Can I sing with myself? No. No, that's not a good answer.
If you show up with two of you, I need one to be like at least bisexual. Okay.
I am.
Oh shit! I made an assumption.
Let's see. I'm not sure why this is such a hard question. Oh, I got it. Master Pierce from the Summits. He's fantastic and amazing, and has a wonderful voice. So I could just lightly sing, and he could carry us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to say An Tir is spoiled for amazing singers. Not that the West is not. The West has our own amazing singers who I love deeply, but I will just want to kind of say mad respect to An Tir because one of your own is Duke Ulf Bloodfoot. And that man, every time he whips out his guitar and he starts singing Stan Rogers. It's like number one, it's Stan Rogers karaoke every West An Tir. So if you ever want to come to like the Danelaw encampment, like show up right around like midnight or so, it will be Stan Rogers karaoke. And Ulf has a gorgeous voice. So yeah, you guys got a lot of good singers up there.
We're pretty lucky. It's pretty awesome. Our Bardic competition is just fantastic. So.
Nice.
So Bella just chimed in the chat and said, Tulia cries every time. Stan Rogers will make me cry every time. And even better, it'll make my boyfriend cry harder.
So apparently I have to make a decision right now whether I want to be spanked or not.
I don't know. What are you into?
I know. A little
is there any answer but yes?
Like if you want.
Okay. Then yes. Then I will stick with Pierce and not pick my Laurel, who is messaging me saying he's going to spank me for not picking him. So, sorry, Eduardo.
I know you're Laurel, and I love him to pick.
Spankings win.
And we're bad.
And this is where the episode just like we're gonna be off the rails multiple times tonight, but it's gonna be a good ride. So everybody just strap in, hang on.
It's one of the reasons why I was like, we have to get Seamus on because it'll just be pure, like, brilliance and weird.
I'm excited for our whole next lineup. Like, we've had some really good guests on. I'm really excited for our next month's lineup. I think we're just gonna have a riot.
Oh yeah, we have a really great lineup.
Are we ready for the next question? Because we're only at question 3.
Yeah.
If we run over. Seamus, if you don't have anywhere else to be.
I still have 3 glasses left, so I'm good.
Okay, great. You're not even done with your first cocktail?
No, don't the first. Don't shame me.
I'm not shaming you. But yeah, we may run a little bit over this time. So yeah, whatever. People can watch this later if they have to tune out. So, Helga.
It's your turn for a question. It's number 3.
What? No, I thought I just read that one.
Oh, you totally did. I'm sorry. So, question 4 comes from Conrad. Tell me about a time you met someone in the SCA that changed how you look at the path to peerage. Who was it, and what did they do and or say that influenced you so heavily? I like how we went from karaoke to
all like.
So I used to fight before long ago. I've been 11 years. I guess it's really not that long. But I had some terrible experiences with some knights. And I decided that I wanted nothing to do with them. That I didn't like knights. And so there was probably a few years where I avoided anyone with a white belt because I just didn't really want anything to do with them. But I got to know some better, and there was probably Duke Steercar is definitely a knight that changed how I thought about knights. So that would probably be the person who changed, at least as far as knights go. And then there's actually, turns out there are also some laurels I didn't like. God.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any problems with pelicans, but no. There had some issues with some laurels, and I was like, I am never going to be one of those. So Master Viscount Master asked, do we get a drink for title stacking?
Oh my God, we should totally add that to the drinking game.
So Viscount True really changed. Who's a laurel here in the summits, changed how I felt about laurels, and kind of opened me up to really go out and meet a bunch of other ones. And I met my laurel, and then I met a bunch of people through him, and I was like, you know what? 99.9% of these people I love. So it was amazing. So that was my change in perspective of peers in our game. So my answer to this is going to sound really, I don't know. It is what it is. So when I first started in the SCA, kind of the first peer I ever met actually was the man about to be crowned king. And he was very kind to me. And I didn't know who the fuck he was. He just was on a horse and looked amazing. And he was apologizing for lining up his entire entourage through our camp at that period in time. So it was, I can't say my first encounter with a peer was negative. So I'd had there was maybe a couple of years having a few encounters here and there with different peers. But the one that sticks in my mind, I had a really negative encounter with a certain
Prince of Sinagua, who 20 some odd years later is now the man I'm dating. So it's one of these weird, like, overarching like the world's longest Pride and Prejudice or something. I met my boyfriend in 1997 when he stepped up as Prince of Sinagua and I was Bard of Sinagua. You were like 9 years old. Yeah, I know. Whatever, Araya. Stop. 8, whatever. I was 19 and actually had a huge crush on his squire. But my first encounter with an actual peer, like one-on-one, was Thorfinn when he was stepping up as the Prince of Sinagua, and he and I just not no. So I took away for years that he was a dick. Like, he's just this stick jock. He's a meh and a this and a that and whatever, awful like thing I could think of, because that's what he was. Kind of a frat boy. And I'm like, I'm on the honors club in, with all of that, and he's like the frat boy. Also, the gin and tonics are kicking in. But many years later, we reconnect and we become buddies, become best friends. And so I go from this moment of thinking, like, this is the royalty of the SCA, and the stick jocks this and the stick jocks that, and all they care about is winning and being like badasses, to, oh my God, this guy actually has like a lot of knowledge about chivalry and like, historical like precedents for all of that, and like started to shape my entire worldview 2 decades after the fact of the SCA, just from reconnecting as adults. And so I would say I had a negative experience with one iteration of a person, and then 20 years later, the second iteration changed my worldview of how I perceive myself as a peer, as other people as a peer, as people who are not peers but are on the path, as people who are not peers and maybe never will be. Everyone has value in this, and I will say honestly, I'll give him like massive credit for it, because he actually did have a lot to do with how I perceive the SCA now. Helga.
You're like mic drop. So a time that I met somebody in the SCA that changed how I look at the path to peerage. Many of them. Oh my God. So I'm going to go with a really positive one. So when I was injured, I tore out basically everything in my right arm. I've got cadaver parts, 9 pins, and some really big scars. And there were a couple knights that didn't like give up on me. Like, I had been doing like the strong, like great white hope path of being a female fighter, and it like cold stopped me. And many people in my universe just like ditched out right then. And there was a couple that didn't. Hvek was one of them, and Duke Matthias was another. Duke Matthias is going to be my hero for the rest of my life, because I remember running around and I was just learning to retouch my face, because for a long time I couldn't actually bring my arm to my body at all. And you were hanging out and BSing. It was one of the first times we hung out, and he's just like, "You're stubborn enough to make it, because you're already got almost all the other qualities. You just got to get back into armor again." And he just reminded me, like, in that moment I was so low and I was so just like, I'm never going to do it, is that he gave me the hope to keep going. And so that's what I try to do as a peer, is when somebody's struggling, is just sit down and talk to them about why they're struggling and see if we can help find a way out. Because that's what he did for me. And he did it so accidentally. We talked about it years later, and he's like, just thought you were a badass and you needed to remember it. And so he changed my idea of what a peer is. A peer is not some like heroic character that is like always good and everything else like that. Occasionally it's those small little moments where you're like, hey, you don't suck. Moving on. So, I believe the Lady of the Lake has arrived.
Lady of the Lake!
Ooh.
Welcome to the 3-hour version of Between Two Peers. Okay, this is going to start an argument. Should donuts be glazed or plain?
I don't know if it's gonna really. Wait a minute, maybe it will.
Glaze?
A two-parter?
She then sends a message. You were all dirty birds. Dirty birds.
What the fuck did we do?
Okay, if I'm the only one that turned that into a sexual innuendo. Oh, Seamus just did. And I'm just going to say glazed. Always glazed.
Fucking A. Fucking A. Seamus, if you say unglazed, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
No, I always want my donut glazed.
Noted.
Why is that dirty?
Like, seriously, like, have I never drunkenly just walked by him and like, I want to glaze you like a donut?
No, you've never used that one on me, Helga. No!
I don't think so.
I've been left out.
You know, I think I've used the terrible line of I want to hit you harder than a bunker in World War II.
No, I've never gotten that one either.
Oh, I'm gonna hook up my game with you. Like, I really like terrible reference one-liners.
Oh my goodness. Well, I need to take a short break to the little Baroness's room. You guys continue discussing amongst yourselves for the next 45 seconds or so.
Run, sir, run! Okay, so we can take one quick question.
What?
Damn it!
Ah!
Are you having fun so far, Seamus?
I am. Yep.
We'll see if anybody sends in a question. Otherwise, I'm just going to ask you, so how heavily glazed do you like your donut? I just all the comments, by the way, I'm just ignoring you, Baby Ninja. All the comments right now are just all about donuts.
I mean, so you have options, right? Because not only could you glaze a donut, you could also fill a donut.
Well, you could have a stuffed glazed donut.
Right. So
we just mentioned filled donuts or stuffed donuts. The lady in the lake just delivered I forgot filled donuts.
I forgot filled. I mean, that's an option, right? I
think it should be stuffed, not filled. Filled is just the afterthought. It's when you're done.
And you can have them stuffed and glazed.
Yeah, stuffed and glazed.
Yeah.
No, phrasing is not a thing. We are over phrasing.
Phrases.
Yeah, I'm just how many terrible innuendos can we make about donuts now?
Hi, friend.
We're back.
I told you it would be 45 seconds.
You ready?
I used to work in radio. You could time it. It's a 30-second break. I have enough time to run to the bathroom. Anywhoozy.
Also, I'm gonna have a moment here. Somebody just asked me, are spice sprinkles for winners or for losers? And spice sprinkles are to get the job done, so they're for winners.
Yeah, winners.
Oh, damn it!
Wait. Oh, spice sprinkles. Okay, right. Did we talk about how could we have a donut with spice sprinkles on it?
You could wow.
I like my donuts glazed with spice sprinkles. Phrasing is not a thing. Baby Ninja just asked if phrasing was a thing. Nope, not a thing. Okay, I think this was mine, right? This one.
Also, apparently, we should both just drink a little bit because we mentioned the damn sprinkles a bunch.
Everybody just everybody just wants to watch us get drunk. That is when the
I like how Seamus is already down.
Done, right? Boom!
Okay, next question.
Okay, this one's from our very own Helga. Should a student approach a teacher without starting an official relationship? Should it be the other way around? Okay, wait. I have to rephrase. Should a student approach a teacher about, not without, about starting an official relationship? Should it be the other way around, and why? So basically, where do you fall on the ask somebody to be your apprentice / squire / protege, or should they ask you?
Total cop out. It totally depends on the people. Like, I hate that. Like, I really hate, like, but it totally does. Like, there are just some people who are never going to walk up to a peer and say, "Hey, I want to be your student," without, I don't know, getting drunk together at a at a camp somewhere. That's just not something that they're comfortable with doing. And there are people who feel like they should be approached if they are the peer. Generally, though, I think it doesn't really matter. Like, I think it's kind of like asking, should a man for heterosexual people, should a man ask a woman out, or should a woman ask a man out? Like,
that's exactly right. Exactly.
It shouldn't really matter. Like, you should be like not upset because someone who is not a peer asked to be your student, or for them to be yours. Damn it. Drink. You should be happy. Like, that person thinks you're awesome enough and thinks that you are a good enough peer that they want to be your student Laurel or student apprentice, whatever. So yeah, either way. Go either way.
So I don't live by like one standard or the other. Actually, so I'm gonna mirror Seamus a lot on this. I will tell you, me personally, for me, it feels very presumptuous to approach a student. And so that is all on me. That is 100%. This is my own insecurity showing right here. Of my 2 protege students hunted me the fuck down. Like, just so you know, we will be your student. There is no other option. And then, it was like a year and a half of badgering before I was like, okay, cool, I'll take you on as an official student. But like the same thing with my, like, I've got a gaggle of not my squires that I will train them and work with them and everything else like that, and I'm happy to, but it is something in me that it feels very presumptuous to assume somebody wants to learn from me. And so that is something that I'm trying to work on, because I assume, like, nobody wants what's up here. Like, and so, like, I'm happy to train with people, but they have to ask. Otherwise, I'm just like, there are much bigger dogs around here that can get the job done.
Yeah, but there's a reason why they picked you. And they didn't pick some other fucker.
Yeah, well, and like my squares are stuck with me. Like they're
so
awesome.
Maybe they're cool with that.
And I will have a squire once once travel lifts and I can actually go slap a red belt on somebody.
Okay. So, well,
there was plans to, and then COVID hit and fucked that up.
That's good. Is this the guy in Snogwa?
No, there's a guy down in Arizona.
Oh, okay. That's actually kind of a slightly different question. Taking dependents out of state, out of kingdom. But to answer the actual question that was asked, I am a proactive person. I don't like beating around the bush. If I see somebody who's doing something cool and I want to be like, hey, you want to go to the prom with me? And if they're like, nah, I'm still waiting for a date from some cooler Laurel, whatever, cool, fine. I would much rather be upfront. And I don't believe in the waiting for somebody to come, draw their toe in the dirt. It's like dating. It's a lot like dating in high school. It's really fucking annoying. And so I would rather just be like, you know what? I see a lot of potential in you. And I think that we would make a really great team. Would you want to be my apprentice? And if they're like, not right now, or not really, or whatever, okay, fine, cool, no problem. But yeah, I believe in just stating it. I don't like the beat around the bush.
So I'm just cracking up with, like, when it comes to student relationships, I'm like I don't know, like we should feel it out and everything else like that. When it comes to sex, I'm like, we seem to get along.
Right.
It's the total opposite for me, where like a student relationship, I'm like, that's commitment and that's scary. That not so much.
But I mean, so in my opinion and experience, when I see somebody who has a lot of potential, who I click with, and I'm gonna ask them. I'm not gonna wait for them to be like, oh God, I gotta work up the courage to ask the big scary peer. I want them to know, hey, I'm receptive to this idea. If they're interested in it, they can come and get me, and they can accept or not. It's not gonna hurt either way, me anyway. Yeah, I don't like the, oh gosh, oh gee, oh, will they, won't they? That shit bugs the fuck out of me. I want just say what you want and then let's be cool.
You would love Eva. My protege 100% was like, I'm gonna be your protege.
No, I completely love Eva. She's right.
I got so spoiled with her. And same with David. Both of them were like, oh no, I want this. And I'd be like, but there's better peers out there for you. And they were like, oh no.
No.
We'll eventually get you. Just shh. It's okay. Take our love.
It's one of these things where I feel, and I hear you say this a lot, Helga, there's actually what I hear coming out is the imposter syndrome of the, you don't know what crappy weird shit goes on in my brain all the time. As a person who knows what crappy weird shit goes on in your brain all the time and still thinks you're a cool person with a lot of things to give and teach and bestow on somebody. Look at Helga. She's just literally like dying right now. This is her worst nightmare. I am touching the fuck out of her toe beans. But yeah, I really do think that there's a lot of validity in somebody saying, like, actually, no, you, I think you, of all the people I know, you, yeah, all the bullshit that you are and exist in and all that crap, but I still think you are the one. At least that's how I feel like with my boyfriend and me. That's how we ended up together.
Thank you.
Yeah. So does that mean next question?
Yeah, that's the next question. That's enough of stroking my dick there.
Okay. I'm not stroking your dick. I'm literally just saying, in situations like that, don't let your inferiority complex tell you that you are not worth something to somebody.
Oh no, me and the imposter syndrome, like, I have a good relationship with that asshole.
Do you see my eye roll right there? I'm like, every Tuesday, I'm not worthy! Like,
Pretty much. All right, we ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
This one comes from Garb, and this one will be a pretty fun one, actually, is how do you deal with people who say, yeah, but, every time you offer a suggestion or try to help them improve their skill, art, fighting, services, etc.?
Yeah, but I take it as they aren't interested in learning. Like, they obviously think they know what they're doing, so it's cool. You do you, and like, I am perfectly fine with, going back and forth and jumping on things together. Or, figuring it out if we disagree. But if it's just a constant, yeah, but, then obviously you don't need any feedback. You got it.
so it's kind of a just, you don't want my help?
Yeah.
Then cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love helping people. I love learning with people because half the time I'm actually learning. It's not really them that's learning. I have no problem doing that, but it has to be two-way street,
Yeah.
and so, it has to go both ways.
Yeah.
Helga.
Oh, it's Sarah. I asked it, so Sarah gets to answer first.
No, I'm saying it has to go both ways, Helga.
You got a drink.
Hey, don't you start shit.
Y'all got a drink because you used the S word. But while they're drinking, I have encountered this. I was a teacher. I was a college instructor for a number of years, mundanely. And something that I learned in that capacity was people have a hard time accepting that they could be wrong or accepting that there is a correction to be made. Actually, it's really more like if there's a correction from somebody who knows more, it's being interpreted as if they are wrong. My ultimate answer is, a lot like what Seamus just said. It's kind of like if you can't get through to them because they keep putting up barriers, because they feel defensive, because you're saying or trying to like correct them gently, hopefully, and they're just not willing to receive that information, then you know what, you've said your piece, you can move on. There is, though, some merit in trying to find a different way of communicating to someone who hears a, hey, that thing I saw you do was not right or good or effective or whatever. Try this instead. Because what they're hung up on is, thing I saw you do was not right. So trying to find a different way to phrase it and trying to find a different way to approach it. And you know who the queen of that is? Helga. Helga is very good at finding the language that somebody, I'm not trying to suck your dick, I swear. But she really is very good at trying to find the way of giving the information to correct a behavior or a thing or whatever the issue is without alienating someone, making them defensive. And she's done it with me numerous times. This is how I know, because we work together mundanely. We have had many, many, many difficult discussions about behaviors or actions or things where I have had to be like, I hear what you're saying. You have a valid point. Now, how can we address it? But not everybody really has that ability to receive that information. So if that person doesn't have that ability to receive that information, it is harder to communicate, even as much as you want to help them, as much potential as you think that they have. And I'm kind of literally throwing Helga under the bus right now because she has read all of these books and things.
Well, do I have it on my desk? I might have moved it off.
Literally, you're like, how to have difficult conversations with your coworkers, which super works in the SCA, weirdly.
So my answer is coming up with a yeah but. And so the first thing I want to address with a yeah but out of a student is, are they not actually hearing my feedback? So are we talking two different languages? And we assume in our brain that English is a universal language. And so here's a fun fact about me. Language is secondary to imagery. And so I read body language, facial expressions, color tones. So like if your face changes color tones much faster than I actually can understand the words coming out of your mouth. It's an actual learning disorder. Like it drives me insane. But I hear language. So when you talk, I actually hear images. And then I have to translate those images. And so I've learned to develop multiple ways of saying the same thing. And so I found with students or somebody that I'm giving feedback to, if they're saying yeah, but, it's actually probably because their image doesn't match my image. And if I take away the words, if I take away the universal meaning of whatever word that I've used and try to get to their image, typically you can get through a yeah, but. However, that's work. And sometimes you don't want to apply said work. And so, but if it's one of my students and I get a yeah, but, it's time to sit down and talk. We're going to hash out until we have the same image of what's going on. And then we come up with a universal language to describe that image. And then we can move forward because I've invested that time in that person. They get to yeah, but me. We get to invest the time to find what's going on. If it's somebody like Joe Rando that yeah, buts me, like, I then make an assessment. Is this person worth my time to come up with a universal language? yes, no. If I hit yes, then cool, we sit down and we bullshit, grab a beer, like, let's make a universal language and get to the same image. If they're not, I will attempt to actually try to find them a teacher that they're willing to listen to. Because sometimes that yeah but comes out of the fact that I'm a 5'5" female. Sometimes that yeah but comes out of the fact that I'm a knight and they have an issue with knights. Sometimes that, yeah but comes out of the fact that I have purple hair or I don't present the way they need to hear it. And you can never beat a yeah but bias. You can work on it, but that's a time investment. If you have a yeah but bias showing up, sometimes it's just easier to find somebody that fits their bias. Cool. I'm going to go introduce you to Duke so-and-so who's 6'5", and you're going to want to suck their dick. Because I have a vagina, I am not willing to invest my time in your yeah but. But one of the and then my yeah but for this entire conversation is, as a peer, I feel that it is my job to find somebody that can help them with their yeah but. If I cannot, that is my job, is to say, well, cool, let me introduce you to so-and-so. And I'll, for the most part, always be gracious about it. Even if later on I'm drinking a beer like, that son of a bitch, like, good God, fucking sexist asshole, like, at that moment in time, I don't get to call them out completely unless it's really warranted. Because sometimes it's just underlying bullshit that you need to deal with, but it's not the conversation that should be had right in the moment unless it's, like, 50% egregious. And then you have the conversation where, like, we're no longer discussing your yeah but, we're discussing your fucking behavior. So.
Right.
There's roundabout yeah buts of.
Is that a soapbox?
That might have counted as a soapbox.
Okay, the tech crew is saying it's a soapbox, so cool.
There we go, we'll go with the soapbox. Find language. If not, find somebody that can help them.
Honestly, what I think actually should be helpful is, Helga, if you had like your top 3 or top 5 books, because I know you've got an entire library on this stuff, but like, the top however many books that you think are actually useful for that situation, share it with us.
The anatomy of, like, do you want me to do this right now?
You can do it right now, but I also think actually posting it on the Facebook page.
I'll totally post it on the Facebook if people want. But the top one book is Anatomy of Peace. Then you go to Crucial Conversations, and then you go to Crucial Accountability. In those 3 books, read those 3 books, and then I have a huge list beyond that. But Crucial Conversations is a breakdown of how to look at a conversation and look past the emotion in a conversation. And this is not, we're just going to go with this because I got hit on this earlier, so I've been thinking about this a lot. It's not tone policing. It actually gives you the tools to let a person be emotional at you, and then for you to address the underlying problem while also still making their emotions valid. Because you have to remember that humans are emotional creatures, and you have to address both. You have to address the logic and the emotion, otherwise you're not going to get through a conversation. Crucial accountability is how you fuck up. Like, how can you re-break down the process and you can get better at hearing what is going on versus what you think is going on or what your emotions need you to feel is going on. And the Anatomy of Peace is kind of like the culmination of all those ideas, but in a story format where you can relate to the characters and you can kind of ID yourself in the character building process, so it gives you a point of relation. Because I'm a big book nerd.
And actually, I think those are really helpful in the wider context of like just relating to people. In the SCA, I know for a fact you use that stuff on people in the SCA all the time because I've seen you do it.
All the time.
So I'm going to move on to the next question. This one is from Mary Tarrant of Glastonbury. For decades, the kiss of death for a person getting a non-chivalric peerage has been admitting that you want it. After 55 years, is this still true or is it fading?
I see some feelings.
So many feelings. I think it is completely, utterly bullshit to not to hold people back or think that they shouldn't have a peerage because they want it. Now, that shouldn't be the only reason they want it. Like, I mean, that's like, if you only want it because you want the peerage, then you're not really going to do it, and it doesn't really matter. Like, if you just want the cookie, you'll get the cookie, and then you'll disappear. Like, but the idea that certain peerages can say, I want to be this. By being a squire, I am saying I want to be a knight, and that's okay to say I want to be a knight someday. But if someone says I want to be a pelican or I want to be a laurel, we don't want to say that because, they're just looking for the cookie. It pisses me off. So, overall, I think that's faded. Even in the 11 years that I've been in the SCA, I think that was something I heard quite often right when I first started. When you're finding out what the peerages are and you're saying, there's this peerage that's for arts and science. Yeah, I kind of want to be that. No, don't say that. I literally had people do that. No. Like, look around. Like, don't say that. Like, it was, I had said something just terrible. To now, it's like, that shouldn't be the thing you talk about the most, is how I want to be a pelican someday. So I think it's definitely shifted. I don't think it's equal still. Like, I don't think... I still think some people look down on the non-chivalric path people on saying that they want to be a peer. But I definitely think overall it has definitely gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to agree with Seamus, and I'm just going to climb up onto a soapbox because we're going to call this one a soapbox. So everybody drink.
God damn!
Then I'm going to go. Also, I love drinking like straight gin because then when I spill it on my tunic, it's not like it's never going to show back.
It evaporates right away. Yeah.
So I think that this ideal is changing. And the reason why this ideal is changing is actually because the generations are changing within our peerages. So as we have the older peers, as much as I love our older peers and I love our history and everything else like that, as we have our older peers fade out and have more, Gen X and millennial peers in council. And
even some Gen Y. We're getting...
Yeah, we even have a couple Gen Y peers, which is super
Gen Z, sorry.
Sorry, Gen Z. Is the more we have of them, the more accepting they are of this, because this is actually this is mundane cultural, actually. Not just SCA culture. This is actually directly reflected in the mundane culture of the time period of saying, well, I want this, and then by saying I want this, you're then not worthy. Also, we have to remember that everybody sees peerage through their own eyes and their own path. Some people feel more rewarded by getting the peerage than others do. And we weigh that. So, like, I am accidentally a pel. I am on purpose a knight. And so...
That is an interesting distinction. We need to unpack that later.
And we can unpack that as much as we want, but, like, so when somebody tells me they want to be a pel, I'm like, cool, great. Like, I want to be supportive of that. But also, one of the things is I think that anybody in our society should be able to say they want something. Because you should want to be a knight, you should want to be a laurel, you should want to be a pel, you should want to be a mod, you should want to be able to be a royal. Like, that's a big one right there. Like, that royal peerage, by the way, we shame the fuck out of women for that. And I have so many feels about that.
That is a soapbox
so many fuck off feels about how we shame people that want to be consorts and disrespect them in the process. Of them saying, I want to be princess. What is there wrong with wanting to be one of the coolest jobs there is in the SCA? Being princess is great. Oh my God, that is the best job. You get to be like the coolest cheerleader ever. I want all my friends to feel free that they can say they want that job. The only thing that I tell people is you can want the job all you want, because being a peer is a job. You should also know what goes into it. It's not just you get your peerage and magically you understand it. The whole entire path is actually going to understand it and understanding who you are, and can you stand on your own, and can you defend what you are doing. And if you cannot, then you're not ready to be a peer. Mm-hmm. So you can want all you want it. Nobody should shame you for that, but they should help you along that path, and they should give you guidance in the process. You should also be open to it. If you say you want a peerage and somebody tells you, hey, you probably should work on X, Y, and Z, that's student-teacher feedback. That's not them shaming you and telling you you're not ready. That's feedback so you can get to your goal. And so there's a huge soapbox that I have about the royal peerage and wanting it.
This is truly a signal for I have so many feels.
Yeah.
This is my tell.
So I can turn totally loose on that in a moment, but I'm going to tell you that do not, like, I'm just going to put a little flag in the ground. Do not shame somebody for wanting a peerage. It's like shaming them for wanting a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
They should have all the skills necessary to have it. They're going to develop more skills when they get it. Make sure that they're safe having it, though, because it is power, and it is a job, and it is responsibility. But never shame them for saying they want it, because that's the start of the path. Fighter, artisan, service, all of it. It's path to walk. It's path to being a better person.
I think.
There you go, Talia.
Thank you. If we all want to drink, because this may, in fact, turn into a soapbox, I'm just going to get this out of the way right now.
We need to start a timer on you.
So, Mary asks an interesting question for me as a non-knight, as a woman, and as a feminist, a staunchly, devoutly fuck you feminist, that there is baked into the way the SCA's traditions have evolved over the 55 years that the SCA has been a thing. It's okay for squires to say, I want to be a knight, and to be loud and proud and out about it and be like, fuck you, I want the knight. I want to be a knight. I want the white belt. I want, the chain. And they're celebrated for that. Meanwhile, what I like to call feminine side of things, because that's a very masculine thing, right? We gender these things very, very hard in the SCA, and now we're trying to walk it back 55 years later. A little late on this, but okay. So the more feminine peerages, and I'm using this in the sense of, I'm talking mostly about the pelicans and the laurels, also a little bit the royal peers. These are the things where you get this pressure to not admit that you want to be that thing. And you're told, be humble, be retiring, oh, no, not me. I couldn't possibly be worthy, which is a very misogynistic way of exerting power and taking voice and agency away from female voices. I don't believe that is true. I want my apprentices, and I tell every apprentice that I have, I want you to say you want to be a laurel. I don't want to take you as an apprentice if you don't want to be a laurel. Otherwise, why the fuck am I doing this? Why are you doing this shit? Tell me you want it. Tell me that is the thing that you, keeps you up at night. You just want to strive for it. You envision yourself in that role and all the things you would do to make the SCA a better place as a peer. I want that out of my apprentices. I want that out of the candidates that come through Laurel Council. And that's the only council I sit on. So I don't know what criteria anybody else judges this by. But that is something that I want to see. Do not say, oh, no, I'm not worthy. I couldn't possibly be a laurel. Fuck off. Do not talk to me unless you want it. That's my soapbox.
I like how she's just like, huh, throw it down. So also, I will encourage those that are told that they shouldn't seek it by peers, have them discuss it with the peers that tell them they should be able to seek it. Because one of the ways that we get rid of the kind of cross miscommunication is by having peers have discussions about it. And so don't ever feel that you should stay silent about that. If you have somebody, oh my God, you shouldn't be telling anybody that you should seek it, be like, cool. Let me introduce you to Helga and Julia, and you guys can have a conversation, and let's see if we can, develop something beyond that. Because the only way to actually correct some of the society problems that we have, or the society miscommunications that we have, is by facilitating conversation. And I'm just going to go right back to my books. Is facilitating conversation versus being silent about what you're told actually helps correct problems much, much faster. And so please note that, I'm going to put my hand up here, and Julia and Seamus, if they want to, can put their hand up here. Please feel free to always approach me to be like, hey, I had this conversation with this peer, and I really, I got mixed messages. Will you come talk to them with me, or will you go have a conversation and then, kind of interpret this for me? I'll put that time in to make sure that your experience on your path is much, much better, because that's actually my job. That's all the weight of this. That's my job, is to make sure that your path is easier but also understood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Come to me if you are like, I feel conflicted about this interaction. Jesus Christ, just seek me out. Okay, granted, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I will always listen to somebody who has a feeling or an experience, no matter how different from mine. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, we ready for the next question?
That's what we're doing. It's yours, Helga.
This comes from Princess Sarah of the Mists, who is delightful, by the way. Favorite 80s power ballad? Hang on, I'm using Google real quick.
Oh, favorite 80s power ballad. You didn't even finish. A sample of the song would be nice, too. I don't think I can sample it. I wouldn't, but Seamus. Did we break the guest?
I wasn't born yet.
I don't know. Do you have one, Julia?
You can. Oh, I have a million. You want to see my iPod playlist?
Yeah. So I'm really bad with names of songs.
Hang on a second. Let's see. Pulling up playlist. Where's my wall? I am all about the 80s power ballads. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Separate Ways by Journey. Actually, Journey is always my go-to for a good
I was about to say, okay, so Journey Anything. Does that count? Because Journey Anything and I'm good.
Absolutely, Journey Anything, but Separate Ways. Here we are, well, the pot has broken in two. I mean, come on. Let's see. Some of these don't really count as power ballads. They're just kind of like hair rock, which is cool too. No One Like You by the Scorpions.
Oh, that one's actually solid.
Oh my god, that is such a good power ballad. Anybody
can I also go with Velvet Revolver, Fall to Pieces?
Yes, you can.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm going with.
Are they 80s? I thought they were 90s.
Oh my god. Never mind. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, that is good. That does fall in that. Are we stalled for time yet? Enough, Seamus?
Okay,
yeah, I don't know.
Ozzy Osbourne, Goodbye to Romance. We'll also.
Oh my god, Ozzy! So many Ozzy solo songs.
He might not disown me right now. He's gonna see this episode and never speak to me again.
Who? Havek?
No, Bela.
Oh, Bela. I heard My Night. I don't know why I heard My Night.
Oh, so Bon Jovi, Never Say Goodbye, 1986. Yes. So that was the year I was born. He's still older than me, but there's also another one. I like how Seamus is just no.
I don't got one. Apparently, I don't have an 80s power ballad that I love.
To go with anything by Journey, honestly. Anything by Journey.
Yeah.
They're San Francisco, They're a hometown band.
All right, so are we ready for the last question of the night?
Let's do this. Ridiculousness.
Okay. This is the last question, and it's from Hans.
Uh-oh.
With what do I bribe you?
Specifically, what does he, or generally, what do people bribe you with? Him specifically?
I think you need to answer yes, both now.
Okay.
I think it's anyone. But he will take notes, I'm sure.
Okay. So what does he bribe me with? Lap dances.
Would watch. 100% would watch.
Totally got one on my vigil night. I'm just saying. And
What was going on in the vigil tent? Fuck off, man. I'm really angry about this now. Where is the lap dance? Where is my lap dance?
No, he just sat on my lap. It wasn't really an actual. Well, it was a bit of a lap dance. Anyways, thanks to Giuseppe.
I would 100% watch that.
What do people bribe me with? Books. You could totally bribe me with books. Totally nerd, obviously. Vodka. Totally bribe me with vodka. Chocolate. And hugs. I love hugs.
Oh, I like hugging. I'm a hugger.
Yeah. I'm pretty easy.
I'm already to the point where I'm like,
I hadn't heard that about you being pretty easy.
I'm not that way.
So,
just
I don't know, Seamus.
Julia, with what does Hans bribe you, and then what does the rest of the world bribe you with?
Okay, so Hans is going to bribe me. It's going to be a well-fitted pair of pants. I don't care what era. Just be well dressed. And that man knows how to dress. So actually, it's a pretty good bribe. In general, silk, easily. Just give me silk. I don't care what form. Damask.
Noted.
But is he taking notes back there right now? Is he literally behind the curtain, like noting these? Hans up! I know you're back there.
I wasn't, but I could be.
So silk, anything. I love silk, easily bribed. Specifically damasks and taffeta. Either of those. Yeah, you have my attention. So, Okay, we need to read a response from Kenhild from Hans using the plural of moose correctly. Books. An appropriate answer from our library.
That banner is up on our wall. I want you to know. She taught a class specifically on that.
Well, that's my answer. What about you, Helga?
So what does Hans bribe me with? Well, you can just fill in the blank there, because it involves zero clothing and a lot of athletic ability. So, moving on from that, what does anybody else bribe me with?
No, why are we moving on?
Well, what do you want to know?
No. Anyways, move on. It's fine.
I'm going to call you on your bluff. I'm calling you on your bluff right now that you can't take more, okay?
No, I'm...
Listen here, I will verbally glaze your donut. So, what does anybody else bribe me with? Bling, actually, I'm totally all about the bling. Like early period jewelry, man, like that's the way to go. But also, amusingly enough, this is going to be really weird. Giving time to other people.
I know the other one.
What was that?
The other one? Head scratches. You're a sucker for head scratches.
Oh my god, I am such a whore for head scratches. Like people, so I haven't grown my hair. I haven't grown my hair back out because when my hair was, so I used to have a braid down past my ass.
She had
I cut it off, and it's like it won't fill the screen because my hair was so long. But I realized that the great thing about having short hair is that people could like scritch my head, and it's just amazing and delightful. And I turn into this weird comatose. Yeah.
Seamus, stop touching your head. It's killing me right now. Seamus has the most amazing head of hair.
He's playing the blonde Conan right now.
You could do a shampoo commercial for fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
seriously, fuck you.
Every time he shows up at an event that I'm at, like, once every year or so, I'm just like, can I just run my fingers through my and he's like, of course. And I'm like, it's fabulous hair. Like, I'm jealous as fuck.
Thank you. So I actually totally sidetracked. I'm a Leo, and I've always hated my hair, and it was always short. And every freaking zodiac thing I read was like, "Oh, Leos should have a mane of hair," and I'm like, whatever. Totally.
I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so just for everybody in the audience before we wrap this up tonight, because we're already at an hour 30.
Yeah.
The way has flown by. Thank you guys very much. He logged on and all of us were just like, are you cosplaying Conan tonight or something? Jesus Christ. Hello.
And I'm not wearing any pants. No pants.
Wait a minute. What? Hey, girl, there.
No pants.
Wait, the lady of the lake just showed up.
She says, donut. That is all.
Don't.
All I'm saying is, do they have spike sprinkles on them? Because I'm not interested.
Nope, but they are in the process of being glazed. Oh my God. This is a visual.
That is it. Oh my God, I hope you keep that by your desk.
Oh, that one is going right on the wall. There's the wall of the Lady of the Lake. Oh my God, you're wonderful.
I love it.
I'm keeping this. You weirdo, I love you. So, with that is... Fuck, she just broke me.
The spice sprinkle donut was really good, actually.
Oh yeah, no, the spice sprinkle donut's perfect. She found an angry sprinkled donut.
I think it's our mascot. Ciela just suggested in the chat that it should be our mascot. I kind of...
it's also holding a knife, just so everybody knows.
Yeah,
you need a silk banner.
Full of spice.
You need a silk banner with
Next time she reigns, it's on.
Oh man, I will 100% go to war behind that. Oh my God.
She already has the Muppet banner,
Oh God, this is going to be... We need an An Tir shampoo commercial that also includes, the brand is Spice Sprinkles, what you put on your scalp to make sure you feel
Sprinkle, is it, maybe it's Maybelline. It's a makeup thing. I have no idea.
It's just spite.
It's just spite. Maybe it's Maybelline, maybe it's just spite.
Before I do closing remarks, everybody hammer their drink, because we just said that damn sprinkles.
Like 30 times.
Oh,
I just feel that down my dress.
Yeah, I'm like, my boobs are wet.
Yep.
So, with that, at an hour and a half, I want to say thank you all for joining us. We are here because you guys keep encouraging us to do this weird show.
Oh my God, it's so weird.
And people keep agreeing to show up, which I'm not sure why, but like, God, do I enjoy them.
We'll keep doing it if people keep tuning in.
Fun.
And so, Seamus, we wanted to say thank you very much for joining us as our guest host. You have been an absolute wonderful delight. I will never be able to stick a glazed donut in my mouth the same way again.
You're welcome.
There's at least one thing behind.
And so, please feel free, if you would like to, like and follow us on Facebook. We would love to have more YouTube likes. It helps bump our content. And beyond that, we will be here next week with Sir Valora from Aidenveld, which is promising to be a really, really good sassy time. So please feel free to tune in on Friday for the next episode. Also, all of the crew and Tulia and I have agreed to our 1,000-follower episode will be both Baby Linda and the Techromancer sending us, asking both Tulia and I questions that we've never seen before. So please feel free to message them with questions that you would like us to ask with no prep time.
I didn't even know we were doing this, but cool.
You agreed to it last time we were talking.
I did. I know, but I didn't know we were actually doing it. But okay, I'm into it.
Well, we are now.
Okay, I'm into it. Let's do this.
My bad. Sorry, I just made it official. Talia can beat me later.
Yeah.
All right.
Consented.
So please feel free to send them in questions. Seamus, do you have any closing words before we log off?
Oh, also, Seamus, feel free to plug your book.
Oh, I think he just froze.
Oh, Jesus.
So, by the way, while Seamus is frozen, pew pew, he actually has a published book.
Yes.
Go buy a copy. It's amazing. Carrie is back on screen.
So we're actually going to try and bring him up. Stall for time.
Stall for time. Stall for time.
A rad book. But yeah, hey, hi, hey, who are you people? Oh, he's back. Cool.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we're getting there. It's coming. Oh, I'm so into this.
Okay, wait. Talia, you're into tantric sex, aren't you? That's just with all this.
I'm coming. I'm back. I came.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I just had to give you that. Glazed donuts. That is exactly happening in my pants right now. Seamus, please, before we sign off, tell us about your book and where we can get it.
Yay! Pustules, pestilence, and pain. So it is all about treatments from Henry's court. If you look on Amazon, that's where it's at. If you look pustules up, it's usually number 1, which I think is a win. And it's filled with lots of awesome pictures by Vocalized Photography.
It's a beautiful book.
It's gorgeous. They did a fantastic job of pictures for me. It was amazing. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good start to period medicine. Not period medicine, but
there's probably some of that in there because who knows?
No, well, it's all about Henry, and
right, because you did.
We know,
yeah.
So
yeah.
So it's on Amazon.
So it kind of got mentioned in the chat, by the way, on YouTube. I will pay somebody to make me a Spite Sprinkles stamp.
Oh my God, for sure.
Contact me. I want it in period text. I will put that on my garb. On my fighting tunics. Contact me. Give me an estimate. We will talk. I'm always happy to pay for art, but I will use the shit out of it. So, with that, we want to say thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for continuing to tune in and making this show happen. Please feel free to share any episode that you want to, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Love you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night, guys.